Hi everybody, I'm Stacy Drum. I work with K through 5 English language arts in curriculum and instruction. And if we could just advance the slide, thank you. I'm going to talk about two different things tonight, but they work together. The first thing is called Clever, and you can see that on this slide. Clever, the way I describe Clever, it's a bridge, or it's like a buffet table. And when you pull up and sit at the buffet table, there are different plates or different apps that you can access for your student. Clever allows your student to log in one time and access several different apps. In order for your child to access Clever, there are different ways for them to get in. One of the first ways is if you look over on the right side, you'll see a QR code that says Clever. That is the Clever badge login. If your student has a smartphone or an iPad or anything else that has a camera on it, and your teacher has given them a Clever badge, they can scan that and that will log them into Clever, into that table immediately. They won't have to enter anything else. If, however, you don't have a camera available, you can still log in. You would go up to the Login with Active Directory, which is in this same slide with the 4 different colors on it. You would click on that and use the same login information that Denise just described for math. Another way that, if you could advance the slide, another way to log in is, again, going to the Washoe Schools website. And I'm going to, if you could let me share the screen, thank you. And of course, nothing that I have is showing up. Okay. I'm getting there. There it is. Okay. So if you go to the Washoe Schools website and you go to students and parents, just like Denise described, you scroll down to Clever Login, which is right here. And it will bring up that same screen that I showed you on the previous slide. So they can log in with the URL, which is clever/in/Washoe, which was on the previous slide. You can log in through the student parent website portion of the Washoe Schools website, or you can have them log in with their QR code, which the teacher would issue to them, and they can scan that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Go ahead and stop sharing. There. Okay, we can bring the slides back up, please. Perfect, thank you. So 3 ways to log in: through the URL, through the parent website, and then again through the QR code, or what they call the Clever badge. And if we could advance to the next. Okay. So Clever, again, is that buffet table. So we have now logged into Clever, and then you and your student will be able to see the apps that are available for your child on the screen. So I'm going to share my screen in a minute and show you different apps that a student has. This student that I just took a screenshot of has access to Benchmark Education, which is the K through 5 English language arts materials for Washoe County School District. Discovery Education, which your teacher may use in class. EverFi, which is another app. And then MyOn, which Sarah is going to talk to you about in a few minutes. I'm going to talk about Benchmark since it's the English language arts materials. So if we could go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, go to the next slide. There we go. All right, so I have a student. This is what a student would see if they clicked on that Benchmark app that was on the previous slide. It would bring up their login dashboard. And on their dashboard, you can see that they have their library. They have a reading log. They can see if their teacher has created and sent out any assignments to them. and an inbox where they may have messages or other things from their teacher. Also, students love this feature. They can change their background. I just have a solid background on this, but there's other backgrounds that they can check. You and your student can look at the profile settings, and then they have the option of signing out. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. So I am accessing, actually my nephew, his family gave me permission to share his portal. He's a 5th grader, but all of the portals look very much the same. So when your student gets into Clever, however they log in, they would then click on the Benchmark Education app. And it will bring up that dashboard that I showed you on a previous slide. Students can check to see if they have any assignments by clicking on assignments. I can see here that Stephen does not have any assignments right now. If he did, they would be listed here in the middle. He could see how many he has not started. There would be due dates on there. He could see how many he has in progress. So if it's a longer assignment that's going to take several days and he hasn't finished, he can continue working on it. And then when he completes an assignment, he can see how many have been completed. Oops. Going back. So after we've looked at the assignments, we can also get into his library. The library is what holds all of his materials so that he can get into those himself. He doesn't have to be assigned something to access materials in his library. So I'm going to click on his library. Benchmark requires a lot of clicking and moving around. The more students can practice with it, the better. So I'm going to go over here under his library. These are his ebooks. So these are books that he can access. It says English and Spanish. Only certain schools have access to the Spanish materials, and those are the schools with the 2-way immersion classes. That would be Jessie Beck, Donner Springs, and Mount Rose. So I have access to both of these, but the Spanish key will not work unless you're at one of those 3 schools. So I'm going to just click English. He's in 5th grade, so I'm going to reduce the amount of things that I see on the screen. And then I can scroll through and look at all of his different books. So these are the small books that he can just sit and read. His teacher can also assign these to him. If the teacher assigned one of these books, he could find it in his assignments section. I can go up here and just pull up all of his materials, Benchmark Advance, click on 5th grade. They're in Unit 1 right now. And here is his text for close reading, or that paper magazine that you may have seen come home or you saw in class last year if your students were here. You can always click on it, open it, and he can access all of his pages. If he wants to customize, he would put a title here and click yes. That would allow him to annotate these pages and save them so that his teacher could then see them. Today, we're not going to save it. And I can go through. These pages can be read to him by clicking on the audio, the play button. It will highlight for them and give them access to all their stories. An example is that today my mom called because she was watching my nephew while my brother and sister-in-law were at work, and she said, we're supposed to access this story in Benchmark and we don't have a hard copy at home. How do we get in? So I walked them through and he was able to read the story and have it read to him, and he was able to do his work by accessing through Benchmark. Okay, I'm going to go back. The other things that he has access to without them being assigned to him is an e-pocket chart, which is just a chart where he can play with words or something like that. It's not something that a lot of 5th graders play with. However, I know some of our primary students enjoy getting into these. He can also get into his level texts for the unit. And the same thing with the level texts. They're able to open those up. They can be read to them by pushing on the play. He can customize it if he wanted to do some annotations. To annotate, he would just push this little sidebar and he could write some notes. I'm annotating. The way to save it is he would have to push that he was customizing at the beginning. So there's a lot of information that goes with Benchmark. Teachers have access to frequently asked questions pages and some short video clips that they can send to you. If you contact your child's teacher and say, where can I get these video clips that I learned about? Tell them to contact me, Stacy Drum, and I can send them the clip. We have made them available to teachers, but there's so much to keep track of. I know that sometimes things get lost a little bit. Okay, so if we could bring up my PowerPoint again, please. Mary, thank you so much. Okay, and we can advance it to the next slide. So I just talked about the table Clever, where you can enter to get different apps. One of the apps I talked about was Benchmark, and now here's Sarah to talk about another app that your students have access to, which is MyOn.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Cunningham. Thank you, Stacy, for the introduction. I just am going to take just a few minutes to share, again, a different app that your child has access to. So this is, if you can envision, a digital library at your fingertips. This is not the core curriculum. It is a supplement that was actually purchased by the Nevada Department of Education for every child in the state. So again, it's accessed through that Clever portal. So once your student gets into the portal, they can select MyOn. And I'm going to share my screen if I can have permission to do so. And I'd like to show you a resource that we will make available to families. This is a condensed version of many resources for families regarding literacy, reading, and specifically MyOn. So again, this first section goes over how to access through Clever. We also have included these hyperlinks. So when you see this blue part here, you can click on it and it will have additional documents about MyOn. We also have, you'll see here some videos to introduce you to MyOn. And there is an elementary version and a secondary version because MyOn is actually available for students pre-K through 12th. And I'm going to show you here a demo account in a moment so you can see what it looks like. You will also see there are some family guides, additional resources and tips to help you. And similar to Benchmark, there is just a wide variety of tools and resources that can be a bit overwhelming for students and families, but it really allows an opportunity for students to have choice in reading. So I'm going to share now. Again, this is a demo account. This, when you look in here to MyOn, when your child initially logs in, they'll actually be given a reading assessment. It's fairly short, and as a result, they'll give each child a Lexile level or a reading level that gives an approximate idea of where your child is reading. I know when my daughter took the test, it actually came out a little lower than her reading level. However, that doesn't limit her selection of text. So she still has the availability of text that can be up to 50 Lexile points below where she assessed or 100 above. And actually, after she completes 5 books, she's assessed again. So it varies from time to time. And really, again, the main purpose is just to allow children the opportunity to read, read, read. And that is what's so great about this program. So when you click on your child, once they've taken the assessment, and they click on library, what they're going to see is similar to what Stacy shared. However, this is just a variety of books. And they have recommended books. So when you think of Netflix, when you watch a particular show, then they'll offer similar shows or topics based on what you watched. It will do something similar here. And also when your child initially logs in, they take an interest inventory. So my daughter really likes sports and animals, so she typically has a lot of sports and animal books that are offered for her to read. Now, this is a demo account, so these are primary books, not, my daughter's a 5th grader, so she has a lot of chapter books that she has been offered to share. But even if, say, something's on here that isn't necessarily she's interested in, she can still browse other books by topics. So right here, we see there are over 14,000 titles that are available for free. So again, my daughter really likes animals, so she might select this, and pets, and then she can just start browsing. And once she finds a book she's interested in, she can select the read button. And again, can decide, some of the books have audio and others she can read to herself. There are many, many books that are in Spanish and multiple languages as well. Another feature is the MyOn News, and these are exactly that, news articles. On the front page, you'll see at least 5 brand new news articles each day. Oftentimes, most times, these articles are relevant to science and social studies. So it's great to make that connection to whatever your child may be learning about in school. They can also select an article. Now, what you'll see here on the front are the newest ones, and there's also an opportunity to look at many more. Again, if you see, you can scroll down, and I think here there are over 4,000 articles on this page right now. You can search by topic or theme, and once your child finds something he or she is interested in, this is kind of what it looks like. The articles are brief and a short quiz at the end. There are also quizzes at the end of the books. However, schools do have the option to turn off those quizzes as well. Because again, the big idea here with MyOn is just to really promote volume of reading and choice for students. It's not intended to be the core curriculum. That is what Benchmark is for, and the other curriculums in Washoe. However, this is just an opportunity to keep practicing reading, being read to. My daughter is a strong reader, but she loves when the books are read to her. This, you will see on the side, again, can be in Spanish. These articles can be read to you, and there's some additional features as well. So I hope you learned something new and can find MyOn as a good resource, especially on these distance days and you want to keep your kid engaged. This is a great resource. So thank you so much for your time.